Have you ever tried to read a corporate annual report? Let's be honest, they're usually pretty dry, right? Just a wall of numbers and jargon. But what if I told you that hidden inside all that data, there's actually a pretty incredible story? Well, today, we're going to find one. We're going to deconstruct the reports of an Indonesian construction company, PT Paramita Bangun Sarana, we'll call them PBSA, and uncover a hidden narrative of crisis, resilience, and just explosive growth. Okay, I want to start with this number, right here, 101.52%. I pulled this straight from their latest report. That's how much their revenue grew in one single year. That isn't just good growth, that's an absolute explosion. It's the kind of number that just makes you lean back and go,
how do you even do that? Seriously, this isn't some hot new tech startup. It's a construction company. They build things in the real world. So to get to the bottom of this, we've got to rewind the clock and piece the whole story together using nothing but the company's own data. So yeah, let's solve this mystery.
All right, let's start at the very beginning. Act 1, the foundation. We're going to look at the early decisions that really set the stage for everything that came later.
So the company kicks off way back in 2002, but the first really big strategic move happens in 2006. They don't just become any construction company, they decide to specialize in the palm oil industry. This was huge. It gave them a niche and deep expertise. Then fast forward to 2016, a massive milestone. They go public with an IPO. So what's the big deal with an IPO? Well, it's basically when a private company says, hey, world, you can now own a piece of us. For PBSA, this was a game changer. In their own words, it was to strengthen the capital structure and grow in a sustainable manner. Basically, it gave them the fuel, the cash, to take on much bigger and more complex projects. The bottom line? They found their niche, and then they got the capital to absolutely own it.
Okay, so the stage is set. They have a solid foundation, they've got the money to grow. But then, the entire world gets thrown a massive curveball. Welcome to Act 2, the test.
I mean, this quote from their 2020 report just says it all, doesn't it? Total and complete uncertainty. You can just imagine it, right? Construction sites are slowing down, supply chains are a total disaster, the economy is just hitting the brakes. For a company that physically builds things, this is pretty much a worst-case scenario. You'd expect their numbers to just fall off a cliff, right? But here, this is where the story gets really wild. This is the plot twist. As you'd expect, their revenue in 2021 got hammered. It was almost cut in half. But look at that profit margin. It didn't just go up, it more than tripled. How in the world is that possible? Well, their report says it was success in carrying out cost efficiency. In the middle of a global meltdown, they got laser-focused, cut costs, and became ridiculously profitable. That's not just resilience, that's like a corporate superpower. And that brings us to Act 3, the rebound. So they passed the test. They came out of it leaner, meaner, and way more efficient. And now it was time to put that new efficiency to work as the world started spinning again. And this is what happened next. Just look at that chart. From that low point of 279 billion rupiah, the rebound was insane. They shot up to 732 billion the very next year and then blew past 1.1 trillion after that. It is the perfect V-shaped recovery you read about in textbooks. And that, right there, is the engine behind that mind-blowing 100% growth we started with. So mystery solved, right? Well, kind of. We know what happened, but the bigger question is how they actually managed to pull it off. All right, we've seen the what. Now it's time for the why. This is Act 4, the anatomy of a resilient company. Because the annual reports don't just give you the numbers, they actually give you the blueprint for how they built this thing. When you dig through all the corporate speak, their success really boils down to these 3 pillars. This was not a lucky break. It was by design. You've got strong corporate governance, strategic diversification, and that incredible operational efficiency we just saw in action.
Now I know corporate governance sounds super boring, but stick with me. Think of it like the command crew on a big ship. The reports lay it all out. You've got the board of commissioners. They're like the lookouts, supervising from up high. Then you have the directors. They're on deck, steering the ship day to day. And the audit committee, they're in the engine room, making sure everything is running by the book. This clear structure is what let them make those tough, fast decisions during the crisis without the whole ship going down. And who actually owns the ship is a huge part of that. You can see the company is mostly held by 2 major players. That provides a ton of stability and long-term thinking. But look at that slice for the public. That's really important. It means they're accountable not just to the big shots, but to every single person who bought a share after that IPO back in 2016.
So, what's the big lesson here?
What's the point of all this? It's that an annual report isn't just a scorecard. It's a story. And the story of PBSA is that having a clear strategy, a structure built for accountability, and this shared discipline to get hyper-efficient when things get tough, well, that's the formula for turning a global crisis into your personal launchpad. And all of that leaves us with one final thought. A company that can weather a storm that powerful and come out even stronger, well, they're built to last. After a year of such massive, record-breaking growth, the real question now is, what in the world does the next chapter look like? I guess for that story, we'll have to wait for the next annual report.